All right. So, Tammy, appreciate you taking time to chat. I see you've got your puzzle piece thing. What's that made of?
It's just felt and it's rhinestones. I glue them to a clip, and so it keeps my hair out of my face when I'm puzzling. And also, it's kind of a signature piece now, I guess.
Yeah, I feel like you always come with the puzzle fashion whenever you're at an event. So, are you like always trying to make something new for the next event or?
Really, I just wear stuff I like. I'm fairly flamboyant in my fashion choices, but when it's not a puzzle event, it's not always appropriate to be that colorful. So I save them for puzzle events.
Yeah, yeah. What about the piece behind you on the wall? It looks like
I mean, the
leaves or
puzzle.
something. Yeah, what's that made of?
It's a neon sign that says puzzle, and then the
Yeah.
rest is fake foliage. So to pe restaurants use it for like a fake hedge. I've seen it. It's fairly
Yeah,
fashionable now.
yeah. Yeah, very cool. I love it. Yeah. So I know you're kind of like you've been puzzling for a very long time. Is it pretty much since you were a kid?
I have puzzled when I was a kid, but I think that was at the level that everybody kind of puzzles at.
Yeah.
Once a year the family brings out a puzzle and the family spends a few days working on it, that kind of thing. I
Yeah.
think growing up, my family had one adult puzzle. Was a 500 piece. And when I went off to college, I think I bought two or three and had a small collection then. Even after I graduated college, I think my collection stayed about that size. That's fairly normal.
Yeah.
But it wasn't until I started speed puzzling that I started accumulating a lot more puzzles and, spending entire days practicing puzzles. And that is much more recent. I don't think I started doing that till about 6 years ago, I think.
Okay. So how did you learn about speed puzzling and then get into it?
Wicked Kittens, the documentary Wicked Kittens. Caught that by accident and I learned that there's this whole world of puzzling out there.
So how did you get started? Did you just try to do it on your own? Did you find a competition?
I wanted to attend the competition that the Wicked Kittens were attending because I hadn't heard of anything in my area. I live in SoCal, and at the time there really wasn't anything else. But this documentary told me there's this big competition that happened every year, and people who were very into puzzling all show up there. So I started trying to find people who would go there with me because California to Minnesota is kind of a huge ask to find friends who like, hey, want to fly halfway across the country with me and do this thing?
Right.
That's a little odd. But so I kept searching and searching, trying to find maybe casual puzzling groups. I've actually found one that met once a month, 2 hours away from me.
Oh,
So I didn't
wow.
know anybody. I just drove there. I jumped in and said, hey, I'm a single puzzler. We put me in with someone else who needs a partner. I think there was a multiple rounds and I won my round. So the organizer said, well, you know what? I know some people and I'll hook you. So they got me in contact with Ali Krasny after that. And
Yeah.
that started the ball rolling. And we eventually got a team and went to St. Paul and just things started growing from there.
Yeah. And were you at the first World's Jigsaw Puzzle Championship?
And no, I wasn't. It was 2019. And at the time, I didn't have a team.
Yeah.
Uh, I heard about it just before it happened, and that just wasn't enough time for me to figure out how to get there and get people to go with me. I do know that like one American team went, but it was this guy, and he brought his wife and two kids. So
Oh,
that was
right.
his
I heard
team.
about
So
that.
he had a
Yeah.
built-in team. I didn't
Yeah.
have that, so I couldn't go at the last minute to participate. So I started working on getting a team for the year after that, but that turned out to be 2020, and it was closed down for
Yeah.
COVID. So that
Yeah.
took a couple of years before I made it to the second Worlds, which was 2022, I believe.
Yeah. Yeah. Did that second Worlds happen before the USA Jigsaw Nationals or after?
It happened before.
Okay,
It
it
was
did.
June, and then nationals, I think was September or October that year.
Yeah. Yeah, I know both events have kind of moved the time of the year that it happens. So, okay. And I know you're one of the founding members of the USA Jigsaw Puzzle Association. So, did you initiate that or how did that sort of come to be?
Well, part of that was at the time there was a website for the World Jigsaw Puzzle Federation, And it was part of my research. I came across it. They had this page of rules on how to be part of the federation. I was like, this is great. This gives me a framework to work with. There's an organization that has done it before. So I tried reaching out to them and nothing happened. So I figured I'd still try and find other people in the United States and get it done anyway, because on the website it said that to participate in the World Championship, you have to have a country level organization representing you. So I'm like, well,
Mm.
let's get this
Oh,
organization together so we can go to the Worlds.
yeah,
So
yeah.
I started like trolling Facebook groups. I started like just everywhere, like whenever there were chats, where it's like, there should be a world championship, or there should be a US championship. I'm like, or there should be a US club. I was like, hey, are you interested? Will you join me?
Yeah,
And they slowly gathered a bunch of people, and we started to form the first committee and we got the USA JPA to become an official organization in May of 2020. During the pandemic, we were all
right.
virtual, but there were people from all over the US because I guess everybody went online at the time. So it was a lot easier to find people.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, okay. So it sounds like you maybe knew Allie already because you'd been introduced before.
Yeah, I had been introduced to her in 2019, and so she was one of she is a very active person, like very
Yeah.
motivated to get things done. So I figured she was a good recruit for this endeavor.
Yeah, for sure. And then how did the rest of the board members come on board, or how did you find them?
Valerie, I met her at the St. Paul competition in January of 2020 in person, and
Cool.
I recognized her from Wicked Kittens, and I was
Yep.
fangirling, and but she sounded very interested in organizations, and I think we briefly mentioned it to her, and she sounded like, okay, keep me informed. I was like, cool. I think Faith, I found her in a Facebook group. She had just mentioned in passing. I'm like, I don't know who you are, but you sound cool.
Yeah.
And Jonathan was starting to organize speed puzzling virtual competitions. So he was a natural fit as well.
Yeah. Oh, that's cool. It's so funny because when I think about you all, it feels like you all have known each other and been good friends for years and years and years. But I think maybe that's just how it is with puzzle people, you know? I think you just kind of click very instantly. Yeah.
I mean, the starting up of USA JPA was a lot of work, so we did spend a lot of time together during that
Yeah.
process. So we got to know each other very well.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I know that you've since kind of stepped down from the board because I think you wanted to focus on other things. So what are kind of the things that you're focused on these days?
Well, somehow I've accidentally became more of a jigsaw influencer. I've been doing a lot of social media stuff. It just came my way and I didn't know how to say no. But then I've also started doing a lot more escape room stuff. I
Yeah.
started writing some reviews. I just did this huge project where we put together an attempt at a world record again.
Yeah.
So that took a lot of effort. And I've been wanting to start doing some writing, but now I have so many projects competing for my attention. I'm busier than when I was actually working.
Yeah. So I know you have a lot of hobbies. I'm aware of a few. Like you mentioned escape rooms, puzzles. I think I've learned about you that you dance. Like what are your other hobbies?
I used to dance a lot more,
Yeah.
but I used to do competitive ballroom dancing, but it requires a regular partner to, and my husband used to do some of that with me for a while, and
Yeah.
after I had a child, we sort of tapered off with that. So I'm
Sure.
doing more individual hobbies now.
Yeah.
Although recently my family has gotten into Dungeons and Dragons, and now
Oh, okay.
everybody's doing it. I'm like, I don't really have time to start up a new hobby, especially one that takes up as much time as this.
Yeah.
They keep trying to get me into it. I've done a little bit with them, but the list goes on.
Yeah, yeah. So you mentioned kind of a Guinness World Record. So you hold two, right, for puzzling?
Well, one is officially recognized. The other one was an event at the World Championship last year. It was organized by WJPF, so it's kind of an official thing. But I don't know what happened between getting it to show up on the Guinness website. I suppose that is, they will work on that.
Yeah.
But
When,
the team broke the record that day.
right, right, right. When did you earn the first one?
That was in December of 2020. It was during
Okay.
the pandemic. It was quite an endeavor getting 7 people who are unrelated to be in the same place to get this record attempt officiated and processed because I needed two independent witnesses, a photographer, a videographer, two timekeepers. So I was doing it myself, and then there was one person who was I don't remember now, but it was
Yeah.
the hardest part was finding independent witnesses who were people who were not related to me or co-workers. And this was at the height of the pandemic. So we all stayed very far apart and masked. And
Yeah.
somehow pulled it off I followed the guidelines and everybody stayed safe still.
Yeah. Was there a previous record or did you kind of create the new one?
No, there was one that was, I think from 2014, was a while back.
Hmm.
And had planned to make an attempt at it I think in 2020 July, and I was practicing to lead up to that, but the event I was going to do it I got canceled because everything got
Yeah.
locked down. So I just carried on practicing until the opportunity arose that I started knowing a lot of puzzlers virtually, that I started reaching out to them. I was like, would you be willing to stay 6 feet away from me and perhaps time me while I do a jigsaw puzzle?
Yeah.
Because I felt like it's a big ask at the height
Yeah.
of a global pandemic to ask a stranger to stand in your vicinity and watch you do something.
Yeah. Do you remember the name of the previous record holder?
It was a teenage girl, I believe. I don't remember
Okay.
her name. She was a student, and I think she did it multiple times, I believe. There wasn't a lot of coverage on her. I
Yeah.
saw a picture. She was like 11 years old or something. It's just really something really young.
Yeah. That's interesting because, since then, obviously, speed puzzling has blown up a lot more. So I wonder if she still puzzles or has heard of any of this.
No, that's entirely possible. I should look her up and see if I can locate her. But I know other puzzlers trying to make an attempt at breaking my record too, which I totally support because I got a chance to hold it for a few years now. So, anybody who
Yeah.
breaks it deserves to care because Guinness sent me a certificate. I framed it and put it on my wall, and they're not taking that away from me.
Yeah.
So I got it, and uh, I think it was cool to have done it once, and it'll be really because there are a lot of very fast puzzlers coming out of the woodwork now with all the
Yes.
competitions we have. So it's great to see, especially younger people. They have faster reflexes, better eyesight, their brains just move faster.
Right. Yeah, like Connor, who kind of made his debut at Nationals, was kind of a phenomenon. A lot of people watching him, seeing what he does when he's older, or, at least able to compete individually, right?
Exactly. It'll be really amazing. I mean, I I understand that, being a couple of decades older than all those people, it's just there's physical limitations. So I'm quite happy for things to progress the way they're progressing.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So you mentioned these days you're kind of doing more puzzle influencer stuff. So I know you have your own YouTube channel, that I've seen you do like kind of a lot of live of your competitions and things like that and other videos. What kinds of content are you interested in making? Like, do you have sort of a focus or something that you really want to do with that channel?
That's a good question. But in my own pursuit of this hobby, I've always been interested in everything that's even tangentially related to puzzles.
Yeah.
So I think this having this channel gives me a more structured way of approaching these things. Like I bought a new puzzle. I can review it, or I could do it, or and I can film myself doing it, and I can share that knowledge that I gained from trying this new brand
Yeah.
with other people. And so it gives me more of a secondary motivation because I could just do all the puzzles in the world and then I would have done them and they fade off into my past.
Yeah.
But this gives me a way to capture that, and now I have this body of work in a sense, which is
Yeah.
kind of fun. And so I don't feel like I have the focus really is if it's puzzle related, I think it's appropriate for me because it's something I'm interested. It follows my passions and my interests.
Yeah. And you pretty technically savvy. I feel like you kind of have the skills to edit and stream live and things like that. You're the one that ran the live stream or whatnot, I think, right? At the Nationals, the first Nationals?
I I think the first nationals, we brought in professional videographers because I was running the competition data entry,
Oh,
and
that's right. That's
got me
right.
in two places at once.
Yeah. And then I know you used to work in tech, right?
I did. I was a programmer for Google for many years.
Programmer. Okay.
But when you mention all the other things that, like everything can be learned online nowadays.
Sure.
It's so there's so much information out there. I started not knowing a lot of stuff. I still don't know there's a lot of stuff, but whatever I've learned, it's been easy to ask a question online, find a tutorial,
Yeah.
practice new things I'm doing. And I'm still, it's been very engaging to me because I had the opportunity to learn a lot of new skills in trying these new endeavors.
Yeah, definitely. So you also, I know, do kind of joint videos. You have a YouTube channel with Yvonne Foyt, another speed puzzler called Two Puzzle Unicorns. So how did you and Yvonne meet?
Someone noticed that she was from the area. I think she was doing online speed contests, and those when the results get listed, you list your city and state.
Yeah.
So people noticed that she was in Southern California, and we were like, she's near us. Like, let's pull her into our team. And I think I forgot which year was the first year she joined us, the Golden State Puzzlers. But when we figured out she was fast and in the vicinity, she joined our team, and that's how we got going. Because
Yeah.
we started out not knowing very many people, so anybody that's within driving distance was fair game.
Yeah. And then how did you two kind of come to the idea of doing a YouTube channel together?
Well, I think at the time I just left my job, so I thought I'd have a lot of spare time. And so that she suggested it, and I was like, this sounds like a great idea. It's like the outlet for all the puzzle knowledge we've gained over the years and a way to share it with people. And so we did that for a while until I pretty much got too overwhelmed with life and other hobbies. So yeah, but for a while I thought we made some fun videos, I think.
I think so too. Yeah, I think you started a few new micro trends like using chopsticks to
Oh,
assemble a
those,
puzzle and
that's an unfortunate legacy. That's meant to be just the silliest thing we could think of.
no, it's great. It's hilarious. It's very memorable. And then what was the another one? It's like where one of you was the arms
The
behind the
double,
person's back, like
huh?
the person in front had to guide the person, or was it, were they blindfolded? I couldn't
The
remember, but
person behind was blindfolded.
okay, that's right.
So
Yeah.
technically, we didn't have to stand in front of each other, but it was just
Yeah.
easy. So yeah.
But the person in front who could see kind of had to tell their partner where to place pieces, and that was hilarious.
It was good. I think it was a way of just, because we always are so serious about speed puzzling.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's fun to just try something like off the wall and just like, enjoy it.
Yeah. Well, so for you, I mean, you've done a lot in the puzzle space, right? You've got a couple of world records, one sort of being ironed out, but two world records, and you helped found the USA Jigsaw Puzzle Association, and you've got a couple of channels. Is there anything else kind of in the puzzle space? Do you have any goals or things that you still want to do?
I mean, at one point, I was hoping to start learning how to make wooden jigsaw puzzles. I
Oh,
bought a
yeah.
small saw, but getting good at that needs time. It's a
Yeah.
very physical practice, and you need to spend time just working on the dexterity and emotions. And I haven't spent a lot of time with it. And there's some hobbies where it's totally a mental skill, and you can just practice. And that one's a very physical skill.
Mm,
But that's something I might like to get good at in the future. I don't think it's something I actually have time for now. But in that same vein, I think it'll be really cool to design some jigsaw puzzles. Not like a standard, just 1,000 piece, some pretty image. I want to do interesting things with puzzles.
yeah.
Something where the cut is different and you can move things around. So there are a lot of mystery puzzles now coming out in that genre.
Yeah.
And I've always been interested in things like that. Hmm. That's something I have not really seriously pursued, but that's kind of if you're asking me what else I might want to do, that's one of them. Um, Combining various genres of activities, like that's something that's also happening more, like escape room jigsaw puzzles.
Right.
That's a still growing the combined genre is still growing and improving as I'm seeing new products that do it differently all the time, and that's a really fun one to be in, I think.
Yeah, that would be cool. I'd love that. I just kickstarted this project that it's a wooden jigsaw puzzle, but it's also like a puzzle box where you have to kind of solve to open it and find the different mysteries and treasures. Any like added solving is super fun. Do you have you were talking about wooden puzzles. Do you have a scroll saw?
I do own one. I just
Yeah.
haven't spent enough time at it.
Yeah. No, same. Like after, so I took a workshop at Puzzle Jam South the first year and learned how to cut, and I got obsessed. So I did find a scroll saw for a really good price, but I don't have space. We just have a balcony, and it's been sitting out there. And the weather in Las Vegas is also really hard to find like good weather to be out there. So, but at some point, I would also like to get into that.
Something I did learn is that you can actually use it inside and it won't create a really big mess.
hmm
I have it in my guest room, and I just have a little thing below the table to catch dust, and I wear a mask while I scroll. So, but contrary to what I thought might happen, the room has not been like covered in a layer of dust as a result.
Yeah.
It's really localized, and it's actually pretty clean.
Okay, that's good
So
to know. That I
if
might
that's
give it a try then. Yeah.
so if that's a factor, having time to spend outdoors on the balcony, you might be able to move it inside and still be able to work at it.
Yeah. Yeah. Are you competing at the upcoming Worlds this September?
Unfortunately, I won't be attending this year.
Okay.
There's a lot of personal stuff going on.
Yeah.
The timing is not the best for that.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's because I know because you were organizing or one of the USA Jigsaw Puzzle Association board members, you weren't able to compete for a couple of those events. So now, you were at Portland Jigsaw Masters, which was great. It's nice to see you competing again. Is that fun for you? Are you happy to be back competing?
It is. In fact, just this year's nationals was my first time competing, and I was able to spend more time socializing with people, meeting
Yeah.
puzzlers. Portland Jigsaw Masters was great because it was like a more low-key competition. People weren't as worried about the preparing for it. So got to spend a lot more time just hanging out and meeting other puzzlers, getting to know people I didn't know very well before. I, I felt like I was competing 30% and 70% was social. So it was really nice.
Yeah, that's nice. I find that too because I didn't go to this year's, but I went to last year's Portland Jigsaw Masters, and I agree. It's nice to have some competitions that are a little bit more low key and casual, and yeah, have time to spend with folks. I felt like this year's nationals, I hardly got to talk to anybody. Honestly,
It was,
it was hectic.
I think it's also because there are a lot of people.
Yes,
And you're trying to
yeah,
say hi to everybody you know, and that results in like spending 5 minutes with each person.
yeah. Um, so at Portland, you were wearing this dress. It was like really bold, big, colorful puzzle piece. I feel like I haven't seen you wear that before. Was that new? Did you make that or where did
I
that come
didn't make it, but yes, that was his debut.
from? I love it. No, I feel like at every event, I'm like, oh, what's Tammy wearing? Because I feel like you always have super bold things. Like the previous nationals, you had like your fascinators. That was so fun. Which I
I
assumed you made those, right?
didn't make that one.
Okay.
There's some things you can't buy.
Yes, very true. Yeah.
The puzzle dress I was able to purchase, so that saved me. I mean, sewing takes a bit of time. I'm a fairly prolific sewer, but sewing is not fast for me. So
Yeah.
if there's a piece that I can purchase off the shelf, it'll be a lot easier and faster.
Fair enough. That's nice to hear. I kind of feel like you do it all, and so I just kind of assumed like, oh yeah, she must make all her own things. But it's nice to know that you also are like,
Limited
I'll
time.
buy it. Yeah.
Only 24 hours in a day.
Yeah. I gotcha. Yeah. So, you mentioned these days you're doing a lot of escape rooms and, in addition to kind of the puzzle influencer stuff. So, how many escape rooms have you done to date?
To date, I think I'm closing in on 700.
Wow.
I mean, I just did 33 this week. 34. So I need to update my count. But and then I did five in Portland, I think.
Really?
Yeah.
In what span of time?
2 days. I
You
did
did 5 escape rooms in 2 days?
well,
That's
I did one on the last day of Portland, and I did four the next day, and then I flew out after that. And then what day is today? Today's Sunday, but on
Monday.
today's Monday. So on Thursday, basically, I my team did an attempt at the world record, the most number of escape rooms attended in 24 hours, and we attended 34.
So did you get the record?
We did
Okay.
well, until I submit a whole pile of documentation to Guinness again, it's not official.
Yeah.
Or they
That's
even I hope we dotted all our I's and crossed all our T's because also they do ask for a lot of documentation before they approve a record.
yeah. I love it. You're just racking up all these records. Amazing. How do you I assume you have to travel because there's only so many escape rooms, right? And in the same location, I'm sure they'll swap them out every once in a while, but yeah, do you travel a lot
It's
to?
one of the things I do wherever I'm traveling for something. I will
Yeah.
also see if there's a few hours somewhere where I can carve out and find best escape rooms in the area and just visit them. So
Yeah.
some trips I may do one, some trips I may do six, and it really depends. But I almost always try to do one where I travel. And I've been traveling for a lot of different things, not just for jigsaw puzzles. So,
Hmm.
so
Yeah. Uh, I mean, I've never heard of an escape room you can do by yourself, but do you do any by yourself, or how do you find people in all these different places too?
I'm very willing to do them by myself. Usually it means I probably have to pay for two tickets because it doesn't make it sense for the escape room to open just for one person.
Yeah.
And I usually will email them and say, "Hey, I'm traveling by myself. I don't have a team. Is your room is it possible to do your room with just one person? Because sometimes, there's a puzzle that might need buttons pressed on
Right.
opposite sides of the room.
Yeah.
And usually for that kind of thing, they get warned beforehand. And so, all right, we will send the game master in to be your puppet. You tell him what to
Ah,
do, and
okay.
he'll just do it for you. So, but at least they're aware ahead of time, and if they're willing, they will accommodate that. And almost never get someone saying, no, you cannot come and play our rooms, even if it's one person.
Yeah.
Because at this point is escape rooms are a in situ activity. They don't pick up and go on tour. So
Right, right. Yeah.
you have to be in the place. So I do want to do it if I'm there. So even if I have to do it alone and pay a little more, I want to experience what the designers there have
Yeah.
designed and put out for their customers to experience.
Yeah. That I feel like maybe that's the next thing, right? If someone can figure out a pop-up escape room that travels.
There are some, like at AwesomeCon at Nationals, there
Uh-huh.
was a company, they call them, the name escapes me now, but they do travel to different conventions.
Yeah.
And they're
Oh, okay.
um they're short games, like 25 minutes, and just
Mhm.
it was 2 to 4 people, you just play it. And we did a couple there when I was after competition when we were AwesomeCon.
Yeah. Well, since you've done so many escape rooms, are there any that you like a top few that you would recommend or that you felt were like really, really well designed?
There are quite a few. I've encountered quite a number that are very memorable. One of my favorites right now is in Amsterdam. I did it on a layover on the way to Worlds, I think. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
And sometimes you get like a 6 hour layover in some city. I was
Yeah.
like, I'm leaving the airport, I'm playing an escape room, I'm heading back. So I did that, and it was an amazing escape room. That was like just the technology that they decided they wanted to try and achieve, like in that room was just no sane designer really would have done that, but they did it because they wanted to, and I was really glad I got to experience it. I
Yeah.
don't want to be more specific because it will spoil it for anybody who
Yeah.
makes the effort to go there. But then there's one I've done in another city, which is on a boat, which is great because there's one section of the game
Cool.
they simulate the boat flooding and water just starts pouring in, and you're like, I'm getting wet. I better
Oh
climb
my
up on the
gosh.
counter, and I did, and it was so fun because you get to play act for a little while. And so it was really, I knew it was all just, recycle. It was fake. The boat wasn't really sinking, but they made it quite believable.
Yeah.
So they're like if moments like that where you get to experience that you're in a story, you get to the imagination, you get to exercise your imagination, and
Yeah.
even though you're an adult, you get to just pretend for a while.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, I know that's not exactly on the topic of puzzles, but I feel like there's a lot of overlap. I feel like a lot of the jigsaw puzzlers, speed puzzlers also like escape rooms. And I think there's just something about that element of solving something that seems to be like a common interest. Because that's definitely something I say about myself too, is I just like solving things.
I mean, true. I meet a lot of jigsaw puzzlers who say, "Oh, I love escape rooms too. Please
Yeah.
bring me along." And I'm like, "Oh no, I got such a long list of puzzles to bring. I don't know who to choose
Yeah,
from."
right. Good problem to have, I think,
It
though.
is, but
Lots of partners if you need one.
that's true. So when I travel for jigsaw events, it's usually not too hard to find a couple of puzzlers who would come along with and play rooms with me.
Yeah. But kind of just bringing it back around to puzzles, what are kind of your favorite types of puzzles to do? Do you have favorite kinds of art or features or piece count or anything like that?
There are some. I mean, I know as a speed puzzler, I'm not discriminating because it's just a race. But if I had to choose stuff for myself, I tend to gravitate towards very colorful things or even a lot of gradients. But I also love wooden puzzles because a lot of wooden puzzles have secondary mystery elements to it. Like you can
Yeah.
pick the pieces and rearrange it to something. I think those are the ones I've done for myself. The one really it's a colorful ones. I just if I had to there are some puzzles that I found I just had to keep them for myself just because the colors are really bright and beautiful. Also, I like some that pertain to my other hobbies, like sewing puzzles, for example. I actually have a small collection of puzzles that have sewing elements in it that I
Really?
consider. There are quite a few, like a sewing room, or there's I don't remember the names. I don't, I'm a very visual memory, so it's hard to
Yeah.
remember the names. But there's the one where it's just sewing tools and threads and buttons all over the place. There's a
Oh,
lot
I
of
see. Sorry. I was thinking like you do a puzzle, but you also have to sew something. That's what I was
I'm
thinking.
sorry, I didn't make it clear. It's when
Yeah,
the
that's
image
okay.
it has something to do with this hobby of sewing.
Got it, got it. Yeah. No, that's super fun. Any like little bits and bobs make for fun puzzles. I'm with you there.
Because my philosophy with that is I'm spending a lot of time looking at this picture and working with it. I like I would like it to engender thoughts in me that I would be having anyway. Thinking
Yeah.
about hobby, seeing pretty colors.
Yeah, absolutely. It's so much about the art too.
Mhm.
Well, just kind of to wrap things up, since, puzzlers will be watching this, just anything that you want to say to the puzzle community as we wrap up?
I think one of the biggest things I've learned over the last few years puzzling is that there's no wrong way to puzzle. Everybody loves puzzles, and sometimes I feel like people say, "Oh, you shouldn't speed puzzle, that spoils the fun of it," or "You should speed puzzle because that's the only exciting way to do it." But we all love puzzles, and that really there is no wrong way. It's your entertainment, approach it how you will, and I think that binds us all together as puzzlers.
Yeah, absolutely. Love that. I 100% agree and couldn't have said it better myself. Well, thanks, Tammy, so much. This was super interesting. I loved learning a bit more about you and you kind of sharing your story. And hopefully, we'll see you sometime soon doing breaking another record, wearing another amazing puzzle outfit sometime in the future.
It was a real pleasure talking to you. Thank you.
Bye.